Okay, so vayu means and they were, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then Chayei is plural, lives of. That's why it's using vayihu, they, in the previous word.
That's correct. However, to read into this any strange interpretations, because lives here is plural, is unobjective because lives is always plural. The word for life is always going to be plural.
That's because of the reincarnation of the soul.
Of every soul, apparently, because it's also plural for insects and animals, everything.
Okay, so basically,
Yep.
the word for life, chaim, is always in plural form, just like maim and.
Right. However, there is a singular form, but that's only when it's as an adjective.
Then that's not singular because.
Or you're saying he is a living thing, but it's an adjective slash participle because the present, it's a whole area of Hebrew grammar, but basically like you have something called the active participle, which functions as um, the present tense verb of something, but that same form can also function as a noun or an adjective. That's why it's not usually considered a tense like future or past tense in Hebrew. Only future and past tense are like true, strictly tenses. But anyway, here, this is a noun, not an active participle noun, which is the same as present tense. Rather, this is a noun strictly. This would strictly be a noun, and it's always going to be plural.
But how do you know that it doesn't hint at maybe an idea like there's your physical life, but then there's your spiritual life, which continues even after your physical life has ended?
You could speculate that it hints at that, but you would want to be logically consistent, which would mean you'd have to take into account everything that is called a living thing in the plural, which again includes animals. So you would
Okay.
have to think that animals are also reincarnated. I'm not saying that's not true. I just
I'm not saying I believe in reincarnation. I'm just speculating.
yeah, I don't really believe in reincarnation, but I mean, I'm not going to say you're a heretic for thinking it. Not you specifically, anybody. And I'm also not going to say that it's impossible. I don't know everything, but it's not a fundamental of the Jewish faith. It sort of has become so among certain people,
In
certain
modern
groups.
days.
Right, but historically, it is not a part of the Jewish faith. That doesn't mean it's
All
impossible.
Hasidim, right?
Pretty much all Hasidim, yeah.
Yeah.
Not only Hasidim, pretty much all Haredim.
Okay.
And it's also popular among Reform. I mean, it's popular all over the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm. And what's the main difference between a chassid versus just a regular?
Haredi versus a regular Haredi.
Yeah.
So what makes someone Haredi is that they they tend to conform to an idea that the widespread practice of the religious Jewish community has some level of force of law, even when it concerns matters that the Talmud didn't specify that to. In addition, they also, of course, you can find exceptions to this, but broadly speaking, Haredim also ascribe to an idea called das Torah or dat Torah, which literally means Torah knowledge, but it's a concept in and of itself. It doesn't just mean Torah knowledge. So this concept, das Torah, it's the idea that the opinion or the knowledge of the rabbi that you follow is, it basically has the force of God's will, to the point they believe this, even to the point that even if he makes a mistake, then it must have been God's will.
Okay. Now, so you mentioned two things, the thing about das Torah, and also the thing about making basically their minhag as law.
Right, and I'm talking about current minhag, like not minhags, not customs that the Talmud said. Like in the Talmud, there is an idea that the customs of Israel are comparable to laws, but in the Talmud, that's only in reference to certain types of customs. It's not universal. And you also see that in the Haredi world, it's not universal either because they don't take a vote or do any kind of survey to see what the majority of Haredim are doing. If that were really the case, then whatever community in the Haredi world is the majority, then that community should become the law. But they don't do that. So they mean within each one's respective community. And of course, there's a lot of logical inconsistency to it. But the main thing that unifies them is that they have an extremely conservative view of changes of any sort, um, and they tend to conform, and their style of dress, it originates from Eastern Europe. Even if you're talking about Sephardim or Middle Eastern Jews that are Haredi, that both the mindset, the philosophy, and the dress comes from Eastern Europe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's the black and white.
Right.
With the hats.
Right, and there are different slight variances among the black and white styles.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all just exactly, and you can
depending on their Rebbe.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically the fundamental difference, that they don't view a they don't. This is related to the idea of das Torah. They don't view the rabbi that they follow as simply a legal decider, but they also will believe that he has almost a level, and they may even actually they do. Some of them do say this, that he'll have a level of prophecy to the point that you should go and beseech his counsel for everything, even things that Jewish law doesn't require you to go by a particular opinion on. So if it comes to like who you're going to marry, or who you should suggest or encourage your child to marry, what neighborhood you should live in, even if you're talking about different religious communities, which one you should go to, what school you should go to, what job you should take, what doctor you should listen to, whether you should go into a surgery or not. And this is even though the rabbi doesn't know anything about the medical issue, or maybe he knows a rudimentary level of information about it. But
well, hopefully he will defer to that.
Hopefully, but they don't.
Sometimes.
Of course they do sometimes, but they don't.
Okay, next word, Sarah. Sarah, that's feminine of Sar, right? So it means princess.
Yes, it's in the past tense.
Okay. It's okay. Well, but it's not, so you're saying it.
You're right. It's not an exact verb form. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay. So
if it were, there'd be a shavad or the resh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so princess, not I think in English the word prince and princess, they mean son or daughter of a king.
Right, that's not what it means.
Yeah, not in Hebrew. It's just like a kind of ruler, right?
Yeah, I bet that this idea of Sar, meaning prince or princess in English, is a result of maybe earlier English, in which perhaps prince didn't mean specifically the son of a king, but maybe someone associated with the king, some kind of minister in his court.
Okay.
And then later, maybe prince came to mean. I'm totally speculating, but you could look into that. But the point is, in Hebrew, that's not what it means.
Okay. Yes. Me'ah is 100, and shana is year, singular, but that's how you use the word year.
Once you pass the number 10.
Once you pass the number 10, you use a singular form of the word year. So me'ah shana is 100 years, and ve'esrim is 20. Shana, years. Vesheva, which is in 7,
Sheva.
Vesheva, and 7 Shanim years. So the Shana switches to Shanim because under 10 there. And then next is Shane, which is 2. No, sorry. What is
It
Shane?
does look like 2, but it's not 2.
It's not 2.
No, but they are etymologically related.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that word means then.
Years of.
Oh, years of. Okay. Years of Chayei, the lives of, or life of Sarah.
Very good. Pasuk haba, next verse.
כן, בבקשה. Okay. Vatamat is Vatamat is and she died.
Good. And it's grammatically future tense, but the vav
reverses the tense.
Yes.
And the presence of the tav in the beginning, the first tav, makes it feminine.
Yes, that's right. This tav right here is not a part of the root, but it's indicative of a pronoun. And in this case, it's the third person feminine singular.
Yeah.
Right. And it can also look the same way with the tav here at the beginning of a verb
as
to indicate second person. Right. But you know from the context, if like all the adjectives and everything that follow are feminine, then obviously this is talking about third person.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about Sarah.
Right, so it's obvious.
Bekiryat, so Bekiryat is the name. Well, Be is in or at, right. And Kiryat Arba is the name. What does Kiryat mean?
It means kriya of something. Kriya of something. Kriya is like a village.
Oh, okay. Village of 4?
The village of 4. And it also looks like what do you call it? An alternative spelling of kriya, like kriya, to read, the reading of something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see kriyat shema written with a yud like this and no aleph. But that's just a variant spelling. But here it's unrelated. It's kriya, which just means the village. The 4 is probably Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, and Jacob, something like that.
Wait, what? Oh,
Or no. It's either that or that it's in reference to 4 chambers of the cave that is located in that location in which they were buried. It's one of those things.
Oh.
This is like midrashic explanation for why it's called the village of 4.
Oh, okay.
Right? It literally means 4 here, but I was trying to explain why it's called 4.
Okay. It means she, and it's talking about the Kiryat Arba, the city, or the town, the place, right? Hebron, so Hebron. So it's saying that it's the same city.
Right.
Hebron and Kiryat Arba are the same place.
Right. So he and she, those 2 pronouns in Hebrew, they can function kind of like is for emphasis. Like he, Hebron, right? So it, Hebron, meaning like it is. Kind of like we'd put is in capital letters in English. Hebron, the root word. What's the root word in Hebron?
Chaver, which is a friend. Yeah,
it's friend. And the root word for friend means something that's bound to something else.
Oh, okay.
Pointing to something else.
I heard that Chevron, the gasoline company, was named after Chevron.
Maybe. I always thought about that when I saw it. So it's one of the midrashic explanations for this is named after Abraham, who's one of the only person who's described as a friend of God.
Ah, that's beautiful.
But of course, the word friend, there's more than one word for friend. but both of the words for friend in Hebrew, they don't mean necessarily equal. What they mean is joined or beloved by something. So this one has to do with joined, and the other common word for friend, which is yadid, related to the word David, that has to do with being beloved. So
Mm.
being joined is chaver, friend, and yadid is beloved friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice. Okay. The Eretz in the land, Canaan of Canaan. Vayavo, and he came. Avraham came. Lispod, that is to mourn.
Hmm? It's not just to mourn. It refers to mourning, but it's not only mourning. It's mourning with like talking about it,
Okay.
right? As opposed to just mourning with crying and everything.
Mm-hmm. Lesarah for Sarah. Veliv kota, and to weep for her.
Right? You got all that out of just this one word.
Yes, I did.
So
Because and is the vav, and then leave leave. I'm guessing leave coat is to weep,
yes, this is the infinitive, likot.
and then the part is for her.
Yes. So it's direct object. It's a feminine direct object.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Pasuk haba.
כן, בבקשה.
Next verse.
Um, Vayakam, and he arose. Avraham, and Avraham rose up. Um, Me'al, from upon. Penei meto, from the like surface of his dead one,
Yeah, you can translate it as that. You could also say from before,
from before his dead. Okay, just
from
like,
face of his dead. I mean, like from
yeah, from her, I guess, tombstone maybe.
possibly wherever they were buried.
Mm-hmm. By Daber, and he spoke El Bnei Chet, to the children of Chet, Lemor, saying, okay, keep going. Ger Vetoshav, which is stranger.
No, no, no. It's often translated as stranger, but that's not.
Sorry, no, sojourner.
Yeah, there are multiple other translations that are more accurate than stranger. All right, so sojourner, or one who migrates or is an immigrant.
Immigrant. Vetoshav, resident.
Yes. Toshav means like a resident, someone
Immigrant.
who's
That one would be more like
settled there.
immigrant, right?
What, Toshav?
Yeah.
Toshav means somebody who's a dweller there. He
Yeah.
dwells there. He's a resident.
Resident. Okay. So an immigrant and a resident.
Right. This
Resident.
can also mean like a trend. This can also mean like a what do you call it? A transmigrator, like somebody who's
An immigrant resident.
yeah. Ger can also mean somebody who's living somewhere, but not necessarily permanently. Toshav has more to do with permanence.
Yeah, Gary doesn't mean you're living anywhere. It just means you could just be traveling there.
Right. You live there, but it's not necessarily long term.
The Toshav part is you're kind of staying there a little bit.
Right. Exactly. Because it's from the root word for to sit, like to settle.
Okay. Anochi, I am. So it's usually translated stranger and sojourner. I am a stranger and a sojourner.
Yeah, not a good translation. We're better than that.
How would you translate it instead?
I am a. So I understand why they would say translate it as stranger, but again, it's just not the most accurate. Because if you're an immigrant, you're a foreigner. You're not local. But the root word here comes from a word for that, the verb for like traveling, moving from one place to another.
Mm-hmm. So sojourner is better.
Sojourner is better, or one who's immigrating from the verb to migrate. Right? In Arabic, one of the main parts of Islamic history is called the hijra. The hijra was the migrating from one place to another. Same root word.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and Toshav definitely has to do with residing in
Right.
whether temporary or permanent. Okay, Anochi, I am, um, imach, imachem, with y'all.
Permanent immigrants.
Mhm.
Right. Sorry, my head was lagging. You could
Ten,
translate it in combination, like as opposed to like a temporary resident. This is more like a permanent resident.
oh, ger v'toshav.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's like a permanent resident. He's an immigrant, but it's long term,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to just someone who's passing through.
Mm-hmm. So naturalized citizen
It could imply as naturalized, something like that. Yeah,
he's a citizen, he's not just a green card holder.
possibly. Yeah, it's always up for debate.
Okay. Tenu, y'all give me,
Good.
plural.
And the li is me,
Well, Li, yeah.
to me, literally.
Li is the to me, give to me. Tenu is y'all give, Li is to me.
Right.
And Achuzat, kever, is burying place.
All right. So achuz means a portion or a percentage of something.
Mm-hmm. So it would be the place, right?
Right.
Or lot.
So a portion of, yeah, burial lot.
A burial lot portion.
But achuzah is also used to refer to, um, what do you call it? Like a property.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's literally like a portion, like my portion, my property.
Imachem, with y'all. The the ekbera,
You can see the same root.
that is that I may bury.
Good. So this is the noun and this is a verb.
Mete, um,
No,
that,
not mete.
sorry, meti, my dead.
Mm-hmm.
Milfanai,
Mille fanai.
milefanai, from my presence.
Great.
Oh, so she wasn't buried yet. Okay.
Yep. You're right. I was wrong back up here where I said from before. Yeah. So apparently,
Well, she's probably in a casket, maybe only.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, even though today they don't use caskets in Talmudic literature, it does talk about caskets.
Mm.
They use wooden caskets.
Today, what do they use?
They put them into the ground without a casket.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But they put really, really heavy concrete for marble, stone, whatever, slab over the top. So you can't just like an animal or a person can't just come and take them out.
Okay,
But
when you say
they're put
they,
directly. Go ahead.
when you say they, you mean Jews.
Yeah, the religious establishment in the Jewish world.
So we will probably be buried this way too.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. It's just funny because you said they. I'm like, what about
Well, I'm talking to people. Can't say us because I don't know who's listening.
okay. How about you could say we. How about so Abraham and Sarah, they were not in the same place because he came to where she was, right? To mourn and weep for her, according to the second pasuk.
That's what it looks like. You're right.
He came to mourn.
Vayavo, and he came.
Yeah. They say that that's because they couldn't. They say that it's because Sarah couldn't be with him anymore after the whole incident with the near sacrifice of Yitzchak.
It might also be. Wait.
That's what Prager said, anyways.
It could also. I tend more towards what you're saying, but I could see how it might also possibly be that he came in the sense that he took wherever they were before. He took her, and then started his journey No, because she died
No,
there. Yeah, it
no.
doesn't work. Only the way that you're saying makes sense to me, at least.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that's good.